Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. I will be doing a double podcast today. I would do a triple, but the things from Monday are kind of irrelevant, and even some of the things from yesterday are kind of relevant now, so I'm just going to talk about any relevant thing. I'm going to talk about the Steelers-Bengals game. I will cover the Titans without Henry and how I think they did. And I will cover college basketball opening night. And I will do a Where Did I Go Wrong segment to actually end it off. That will be my finishing segment. So, the Steelers beat the Bengals on Monday Night Football, but that first half was a tough watch, if I'm being completely honest. I had a real tough time, but, there were a lot of flags, and by the way, Matt Nagy, not as good as I thought he was. I thought he was a very good coach. I thought it was Trubisky, but he's not as good as I thought he was. The Bears were actually better when he was in protocol. That's how you know you're a bad coach. When a team is better when you're in protocol, not a good thing, Matt Nagy. And the Steelers, they were up 2 scores, but, lately, no lead is safe for the Steelers, so. And, Fields did better as the game went on. That's the one positive for Bears fans. But then again, they did get help from the Steelers not capitalizing on turnovers at all. But Fields was a great bright spot there for the Bears. But really, I can just give you, a summary on what happened in this game. So, basically the Steelers, their terrible special teams came out and gave up another touchdown. But the refs came back and apparently Cassius Marsh looked at the Steelers bench the wrong way. But it's not the reason they lost. I'll be fair here. But taunting is really a dumb rule. It really is. I'll elaborate on that later, but that's a dumb rule. But give Fields credit. He did a good job. And, Big Ben, I'll give him the fact that he had a game-winning drive and everything, but, He did get help from the 2 offsides penalties from the terrible Bears defense on that game-winning drive, and, when he tried, it was really Boswell that came and saved the day. But, the Steelers better beat the Lions, because after that, the schedule's not going to be very kind after the Lions game. This is their last big game to win. Because after that, you got the Chargers, who will be fighting for a playoff spot. Bengals, who will also probably be fighting for a playoff spot. And then you got the Ravens, who are a really good team. Vikings, you might have a chance against. Then you got the Titans, fighting for a playoff spot. Actually, a playoff team right now. Maybe the best team in the league. Top 3 at least. You got the Chiefs. At that point in Week 16, they'll probably be fighting for a playoff spot. Then you got the Browns and the Ravens. So you get a tough schedule after this game. These are your last few games that you have. And I'd hate to see for the Lions to go 0-17 after they were already the first team to go 0-16. It would be fitting, but not the best case scenario at all. But there were like 12 penalties that game. That was not a good watch. But the one positive, like I said, Fields gave us some nice moments. You get the wow moments that you look for in quarterbacks in their first year, because the stats aren't always going to show up like they did for Herbert, or who else? The stats aren't going to show up like 90 passer rating, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Okay. But he led them back in the fourth quarter. He showed poise. That's a big thing, especially for someone in their first year who hasn't even played the entire year. He's played a few games. But, that was a tough game. But I am glad Fields gave us some nice moments. And Trubisky, I'm going to keep it frank with you guys. It's, sorry about that. I still, despite the fact that I think Matt Nagy is not a good coach, I still don't think that had anything to do with why the Bears sucked with Trubisky. And Trubisky had, I don't think I owe Trubisky an apology. I think he had an elite defense, and that defense is not what it used to be. Plus, Fields is showing that he can play and overcome Matt Nagy not being a good coach. Trubisky didn't do that. Trubisky just looks, it's like he added on. They had that one good year, and then last year was okay, but people didn't realize, I think I was the only person that really saw, they were playing really crappy defenses. I think they scored 30 points in 3 straight games against the Texans, Lions, and Jags. I was not impressed by that. I was right. They were first-round exits. But Trubisky, he really didn't show much. Flash like Fields has done. Alright. On to another team that hasn't shown much flash, the Titans. Not much flash, but a lot of talent. Despite that, that defense is good. Obviously, they held the Rams. Last year they were bad. That defense was bad last year. Now, I'm not saying this is a top defense in the league, but it's going to take them places. And, I said, my defensive Tannehill was he did what he had to win. And, they're going to, but I know, come playoff time, they're going to need more than 100 yards, but, if your defense is showing up, why would you go off for, 300 yards? I think I already said this, but, why would you go so hard if you're, it's the same thing when Tannehill doesn't get a lot of yards with Henry. Henry's getting all the carries. Why would you not give it to him? He's the best running back in the league. But definitely come playoff time, they're going to need more than... How many yards of offense do they have? Let's check this. $194. Yeah, they're going to need more than that come playoff time. But nevertheless, it's an impressive win against a great team. It's not like they played the Lions. They played the Rams. They went into LA and beat the Rams without Derrick Henry. And they shut them down. Stafford was an MVP candidate, and then it was no, you're not. We're gonna pick you off twice. We're even gonna take one back for a touchdown. And we're gonna hold you to a 71 quarterback rating. So statement win for the Titans, and we'll see what they do next week when they play. Who do they got next week? At the Saints. Okay, they'll probably win that too, because I mean, Saints got a backup quarterback. Not the easiest thing. All right, but really, back to the taunting penalty. That's like the annoying thing with the taunting penalty is it doesn't do anything with the game. It really doesn't. Like, when it's that high stakes and someone gets a sack and they want to celebrate, you don't throw a flag for them looking at the bench the wrong way. You just don't. Like, that's not what you do. And it doesn't make the game better. Sure, it's more sportsmanlike. Like, I'm okay with a taunting penalty, when it's like in the middle of the game, or like in a blowout, or, first quarter, like early in the game, or if it's a blowout, and it doesn't really matter. But, why are you... It's a high-stakes game. Why are you throwing penalty flags for someone, celebrating when it's a tight game like that in crunch time, But I also have a problem with Cassius Marsh saying, "Oh, I've been doing that celebration my entire career." What career exactly are you talking about? You got 14 sacks. And now I did research on this guy, because I haven't heard of him until this second. I haven't heard of him until Monday night. I didn't know him at all. But he's been playing since 2014. He's bounced around. He went to the Seahawks. Went to the Pats. He's been on. Let's see this. He's been on Seahawks. Looks like the Niners, Cardinals, Bears, Colts, Jags, Pats, and Steelers. So he's bounced around, and he has 14 sacks in his career. But he's been doing that celebration his entire career. I know I'm nitpicking, but it's like, he says it like he's had this Hall of Fame career, and he really hasn't. I got the numbers in there to prove. The man is... I don't know, I'm definitely nitpicking, but I mean, you say it like it's your entire Hall of Fame career, but, my entire 15-year career, where I've had, 300 sacks. No. You have a 7-year career where you've given up 14 sacks. Or had 14 sacks. But, I don't know, I'm nitpicking there, but I just don't like the taunting penalty. Never really have. Probably never will. Or, maybe I'll get a little more, whatever you call it, as I get older. I don't know. But Frank Gore fights, on to a new topic. Frank Gore fights Deron Williams on December 18th. I don't normally cover this fighting stuff. I did for, Jake Paul or something, once, and that was about it. This year, if I can get on enough, I will try to do more, fighting, boxing stuff, if I can. But, I'm going to have a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks where I'm going to be on this podcast. And then I'm going to have to take